everybody, welcome to our section 5.5 lecture video on dividing signed decimal numbers. We'll also be doing order of operations in this video as well. So to divide decimals, I'm going to show you guys just the steps for how to do it without a calculator, but most likely you guys are going to be doing this without a calculator, or with a calculator anyway. But if you are without a calculator, you rewrite the problem as a fraction. You're going to multiply the numerator. I'm just going to use an n for numerator, and denominator, I'm just going to use a d for denominator. You'll multiply numerator and denominator by a power of 10 so that the denominator is a whole number. And what this does is it deals with your decimals at the very beginning, so you don't have to deal with them later, and then your decimal place is in the right spot. You just divide normally with long division, and then the decimal place goes above where it is in the dividend. And in case you're wondering what in the world is she talking about, in your division problem, like if your decimal place is here, you literally just bring it straight up, and that's where it would be in your answer. Okay? So if you're without a calculator, that's what you do. But most of you guys have a 4-function calculator at this point, so you're going to have a really delightful day. So it says 8.75 divided by 5. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to punch in the numbers and get 1.75 as an answer and have a really happy day. Negative 3.02 divided by negative 0.03. Well, if you do 3.02 divided by 0.03, what your calculator is going to say is 100.6, and it's just going to keep going. It's going to have 6, 6, 6, 6, and it's going to keep going. It might even have a 7 like that whenever it ends. What this means is that you have a repeating decimal. Sometimes this happens where you just keep getting the same decimal place over and over again. If you were doing your long division, you would keep getting the same remainder and then multiplying things out and getting the same thing, and you're going to feel like you have deja vu while you're doing your division. That's a repeating decimal. So how you do that is the first place where it is, so it's 6 is repeated, so that first 6, you put a bar over it, a little line like that, and that indicates that that 6 is repeating. If you ever have, with your division, it bouncing back between two numbers, maybe it's going 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, then you would put the bar over the 6 and the 3, since those are the parts that are repeating. And that's what it looks like. Let's see, last but not least, we should probably look at our signs. We had a negative divided by a negative. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So our answer is positive 100.6 repeating. In case you're wondering on MyLab about the repeating bar, they don't have one in the toolbar. If you ever have something repeating like this, they'll have it as a multiple choice answer. And so that's what it is. So this means the 6 is repeating. It's not 0.6, it's actually 0.6666666, and it keeps going forever. Okay? Next one says divide 0.894 by negative 0.41, and then we're going to round the quotient. Remember that quotient is the answer to a division problem. We're going to round that quotient to the nearest tenth. Okay, so if you type those in your calculator, you do 0.894 divided by 0.41, it's going to give you this long answer. But we only want it to the nearest tenth. That's one decimal place. Okay, so grab your calculator, do that really quick, and you want to round it to one decimal place. You should be getting 2.2. Then let's deal with the sign. A positive divided by a negative will give us a negative answer. So our answer is negative 2.2. Alright, next up, a little bit of estimating. So we're going to use that front end rounding to estimate our answer, because we don't always have a calculator handy or a piece of paper handy. It's nice to get a general idea of what our answer is going to be. Then we're going to find the exact answer, and we're going to round that answer to the nearest thousandth. So you guys remember, you had tenths place, hundredths place, thousandths place. That's 3 decimal places. Alright, So first one I have in part A, we're going to start with the estimate first. We have 42.06. So front end rounding means I'm going to round the very first digit, the 4. To the right of it is a 2. That's a small number. It's going to round down. It'll round down to 40. My 7.952, I'm rounding that very first digit again. To the right of it is a 9, which is a big number. It'll round up. So that 7.952 rounds up to 8. So for my estimate, I've got 40 divided by 8. And if you know your multiplication table at all, that divides perfectly. 40 divided by 8 is 5. So my answer is going to be around 5. For the exact answer, you can just type it in your calculator. Do 42.06 divided by 7.952. You should be getting 5.289 as an answer, which is very close to our estimate of 5. Alright, I'm going to let you guys try the next one. So see if you can do your estimate. So do front end rounding for both numbers. Then you'll divide them. And then we'll do the exact answer where you actually type it into your calculator. Okay, so go ahead and pause your video. And I will show you guys the answer. In 3, 2, 1. For the estimate, should be getting 10 divided by 5. Were you guys really tempted to make that into a 14? Because I was too. But you actually round the first digit, and to the right of it is a 4, which is going to round down to 10. I know it's very tempting to me to make that into a 15. But you're not rounding to the ones place, you're doing front end rounding right now. 10 divided by would be 2. For the exact answer, type it into your calculator, and you'll get 2.926 as an exact answer. Okay? Honestly, if it was me doing this, I probably would have rounded that to 15. 15 divided by 5 is 3, which is very close to that exact answer. Okay? But for MyMathLab, they want you to do front ending, so make sure that you're rounding the front digit, the very first one. Okay? Alright, a little application problem for you. Nick just went on a trip where he used 12.3 gallons of gasoline to go 371.9 miles. How many miles per gallon did Nick's car get during the trip? So the word per is actually your keyword that we're doing division, okay, that we're doing a rate. So we're going to do miles per gallon. So it's miles on top of gallons. So how many miles did he go? He went 371.9 miles. How many gallons of gas did he use? 12.3 gallons. Okay. So you're doing 371.9 divided by 12.3. And let's go ahead and round this to the nearest thousandth place like we did in example 2. Because this is quite a long answer. And this also lets you guys practice rounding, which is good. Okay, so if you did that division and we round to the nearest thousandth, that's 3 decimal places. We're getting about 30.236 miles per gallon, which is not too bad for his little car. Alright, so that's the division part for today. Next up, let's review some order of operations and do order of operations with decimal numbers. So just a quick review of order of operations. You should be doing parentheses first. And remember, that's these kind of parentheses or brackets or absolute values. There's a little bit of a list there. Parentheses first. Next up should be exponents. Then you're doing multiplication and division. They're on the same level. One doesn't go before the other. And if you have more than one, you go left to right. Last should be addition, subtraction. And if you have more than one addition or subtraction, you go left to right. If you don't have one of these levels, that's fine. You just go on to the next one. And you're going to be very happy that you have calculators, because you can just use your calculators as you go, which is nice. So let's do the first one. We've got negative 0.3 squared minus 0.4 divided by 2 plus 0.071. All right. So parentheses first. Inside the parentheses is a negative 0.3. There are no operations in there. There's nothing to do with it. So there's nothing really to do with parentheses. So we go on to the next thing, which would be exponents. So I'm going to do negative 0.3 squared. So reminder, that's negative 0.3 times negative 0.3. So in your calculator, you're going to do 0.3 times 0.3, which is actually going to give you 0.09. Now a negative times a negative gives you a positive 0.09. Okay, after each step, I always bring the rest of the stuff down. So I'm going to bring down a negative 0.4 divided by 2 plus 0.071. Okay, so I've done my parentheses, done with my exponents. I'm on to multiplication and division, which is right here. So I need to do 0.4 divided by 2. So in your calculator, if you do 0.4 divided by 2, or you may be able to do that one in your head, you'll get 0.2 as an answer. So bringing the rest down, I got 0.09 minus 0.2 plus 0.071. Then you'll do in your calculator, you'll go left to right. You're going to do 0.09 minus 0.2. Then you're going to take that answer and add 0.071. So you're going left to right. And you're going to get negative 0.039 as an answer. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and do another one. Part B, I have negative 0.25 plus 3 times 6.5. What do you think we're going to do first? Are we going to add first, or are we going to multiply first? We should be multiplying first, because multiplying comes before addition. So we're going to multiply 3 times 6.5 and get 19.5. It is positive. Then I'll just go ahead and bring the rest down. Negative 0.25 plus 19.5. Then you're adding. So we've got a negative number plus a positive number. A negative plus a positive means I should be subtracting and not adding. So really, in your calculator, you'll do 19.5 minus 0.25, which will give you 19.25. It is positive because my bigger number, my 19.5, was positive. Alrighty, in part C, I've got 0.6 times negative 9.1 minus 3.3. Okay, I've got parentheses in this one, so that's definitely going to be the first thing to do. So in my parentheses, I have negative 9.1 minus 3.3. If it helps your brain, that's the same thing as negative 9.1 plus negative 3.3. When we have a negative plus a negative, it gives you a bigger negative. So we should be adding those things together. When you add them, you'll get 12.4. And it is negative since both of those are negative. Let's bring down our 0.6, so it's 0.6 times negative 12.4. And then you can multiply those together. 0.6 times 12.4, you're going to get 7.44. A positive times a negative will give you a negative answer. And you're done. Are you guys about ready to try one? Good. I'll let you guys have part D, okay? So try part D, and I'll give you the answer. In 3, 2, 1. You should get 489.86 as an answer. You should do your division first, then your multiplication second, and then that addition last. Okay? So hopefully this helps you guys get started for the week. I hope you guys have a great week.